Oh man, what's up? Good morning. I'm laughing because my spinning wheel returned on kickstarting the live stream. Happy Tuesday, Hobby Evolution episode 497. On our way to episode 500 coming up this Friday. Um, Retake the Sunday episode since it cut short 15 minutes in, which I ended up talking for I think 30 minutes. Um so I'll and that was probably just the monologue. So I probably did not even record any of the card show review. So gonna talk card shows today. Gonna review the Rockford show from Saturday, and also some exciting news. Potentially really picking up, gaining more and more steam with the Madison show and Rockford as well. So we'll talk about talk card shows today. Yesterday did a bunch of shipping, which typically if I have a card show weekend, that's uh, kind of what Monday's all about. Is I'm usually a day behind. It's probably a day and a half behind because when I do a card show, I pretty much just when I get home, I'm just kind of I stay out of the card room because I've been around cards all day. I'll maybe list some cards on eBay on the couch, but I typically just kind of wind down, and then really pick things up on Sunday. But it was Super Bowl Sunday, so I did do a lot of catching up, shipping, sorting on Sunday during the Super Bowl pregame coverage. But then once the Super Bowl kicked off, I was in front of the TV. So that's why I was a little behind. List ended up listing some of my duplicates from the AEW Upper Deck break, the 3 blaster breaks. Thanks to David for sending those along. What's up, Jenny? Good morning. So I got those listed, and I've listed some of the Panini Illusions as well. So, what else is going on? Valentine's Day yesterday. When I got flowers, but that's it. That was the extent of our Valentine's Day. So, we did watch. We've been watching a new show, Inventing Anna, which is an interesting. So the main character Anna in the show is gosh, what's her name? I think Julia Garner, maybe. So she is from Ozark. She's the whippersnapper, the young woman in Ozark, and so she plays quite the array of characters between these two shows. Because in Ozark she plays kind of like trailer trash hillbilly in Ozark, and in Inventing Anna she plays like a socialite kind of, well, a fake socialite, and so she's in this luxury world. So it's quite the change from seeing her in Ozark. So Inventing Anna, I think it's on Netflix, so we've been watching that. What's up, Herman? Good morning. Oh, I went to the post office. Herman, I received something from you. I haven't opened it up. I need to. I don't have any card shows scheduled this weekend, so hopefully this weekend I can tackle my Cubs mail days. I've got a whole pile of boxes. I got a flat rate box, heavy one, in the mail yesterday. I got something from Herman. I got some stuff from Brad. Um, and so I've got a lot of packages that I need to open up. Oh, and one more thing before I get into card show talk. Nostalgia breaks. Uh, I took a break from nostalgia breaks because I was going through the Goodwill stuff, and then I sat down to record. We did the poll in the chat. What pack do I open next? And it was Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man 2. So I went to record it this weekend on Sunday before the Super Bowl, and realized the main reason I broke my tripod. So I've got a tripod. The camera that is filming right now, it's on a tripod. tripod, but it's its own tripod. I don't think it'll work for a cell phone. There it did it again. Hopefully we don't get a spinning wheel. I raised my hand and my Wi-Fi says it's unstable. So I think there's something to my Zach helped me out. Zach's with us. What's up? So I may get a boost. I also got that link to the Wi-Fi booster, which I looked up has really terrible reviews. So I'm hesitant to buy. I did buy it and I canceled the order. Zach gave me a good idea on a new router. So maybe the router will help my internet issues down here. Porter and I went a bunch of cards to a local place, not Goodwill, a place for abused kids, to something. Any ideas or things others have done? I would prefer to drop off. I don't know. So one time back, and this was probably 15 years ago, I donated a bunch of stuff to the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. I don't know. I knew the director of the local program, and I'm like, hey, I've got a bunch of stuff. Will you take it? And he's like, oh yeah, sure. I don't know if it came in handy, if it was useful to them, but that's where I donated a bunch of, there were some boxes of commons, then there were some like sealed boxes, like it was junk wax era, but it was like unopened boxes of 90 Upper Deck and stuff like that. And then and this was again 15 years ago, so it was I think it was my PlayStation or Xbox that I donated. So I did Big Brothers Big Sisters. I don't know if they actually take donations, but I knew the director and just asked him if he would take it. And he's like, yeah, we'll find a good home for it. So that's maybe one place to look. Homeless shelters, that's good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure like a lot of people say donate to children's hospitals, which I don't think, especially today, I don't think hospitals will take donations like that, especially older cards. And I think I've read, this is hearsay, so take it with a grain of salt, that it's got to be like new and unused, so like unopened stuff. I don't know if there's any truth behind that, but I have heard from several people in the know that children's hospitals do not accept card donations. So yeah, so nostalgia breaks. I've got to buy a new cell phone tripod, so that's on my agenda at some point later this week. I'll probably just tie it in with one of my retail runs. Tops Series 1 releases this week. Tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So I actually may make some retail stops. Typically, the Walmarts, they're on like a rigid schedule as far as stocking cards here locally for me. But Target, sometimes there'll be a surprise stock. And I've seen this happen with Topps flagship, since it is the first product of the year. He'll put it out early. So I may make a run on like Wednesday to see if, hey, there's some Topps on the shelves. By the way, Topps is, if you're ripping and flipping product, Topps Series 1 is probably the best return on investment product there is. But it's got to be within like the first week, because it's also the most heavily printed product of all sports trading cards. So the longer you wait, the more supplies out there and the less demand, because most of the demand is going to happen in that first week of release. So if you get it on release day or shortly thereafter, within the first few days, you can really make some decent money ripping and flipping Topps Series 1. And then you ask, are you ripping any? How come you didn't order a case? That's a great question. I have enough inventory that is at no cost that I continue to list in my eBay store. So I'm just kind of, I decided if I find some in the wild, some retail, I'll open some blasters and list, but I'm not going to buy a case. And I maybe buy a few boxes. I don't know. But what is up, Dan? I don't know if you caught it, but I did receive a package from you via your friend. So thank you. I've not opened it yet. I may do a video later because it's probably going to be later this week or this weekend. I have a ton of packages that I that I need to open up. So I might just do a video on some of them, some of the packages that came. Jenny says children's hospitals will only take unopened product because a lot of kids have cancer and they cannot be exposed to so much things we take for granted. And that's a great point. Today is release day. Tonight is 1 million pack open party stream. That's right. So tonight, I don't think it actually hits stores until Wednesday. Or is today released? Is today the official release day? Usually it's Wednesday, but I know things are all wonky here lately. Let's see. So Zach talking about the Nighthawk router. So second time's a charm, hopefully. Northern Illinois Card Show review in Rockford this past Saturday. You saw my video, the Mike Trout rookie, the divot. That's how my day started. So it was kind of a bummer. I had a dollar figure in mind of what I wanted to hit. It was kind of a stretch goal. I knew I would have had to have a really I would have had my best day in Rockford to reach my goal, my stretch goal. But I was trying to move those bargain boxes in whole, and I thought maybe I'd be able to move some of those and help me get to that number. So the show itself packed, biggest show they've had. They opened up a side room and they had I can't remember how many tables were out there, maybe 8-10 tables out in the hallway. What's great is it's in a church gymnasium. And so it's just like you walk into the church gym and there's the card show. But now, since there were tables outside in the hallway, they moved the entrance out to that room because otherwise it's just a side room. So that was genius in doing it that way. So people walk through the side room, have like offshoots and people not being able to find, the side room or, oh, hey, surprise, because it's new. So that was great. Overall, the show it was the busiest I've also seen as far as customers go. But my dollars were actually really low. Like I made the least amount at the Rockford show that I have. Now, this is not counting my bulk sale to another dealer. So just in my customer traffic, the dollars I had more transactions, but I had less dollars brought in. And I did hear from a couple others that said the same. They had a lot of traffic, but they just didn't sell, the dollar amount that they did the previous. And so I've been kind of transitioning from blowing out my quarter boxes to focus on dollar boxes. So that's I'm in that transition phase. And I didn't make last month. I had the best show dollar wise at Rockford, and this among the worst. It wasn't the worst, but it was probably the worst from a dollar standpoint. Without, and again, this is without it was, if you take into account my deal with the vendor, it was overall the best dollar wise. But it was the second least amount of dollars made, minus the bargain boxes sold to the other dealer. So that was the good thing. I went home minus 9 monster boxes, and there was some hemming and hawing. And he actually, we initially discussed the deal. He actually reached out. I had advertised it prior to the last Madison show on Facebook, and said, "Hey, I'm going to be, moving these quarter boxes, blowout prices, $100 a box." He's like, "Hey," he sends me a IM and says, "Hey, I might be interested in the football and basketball." All right. So at the end of the show in Madison last month, he's like, I'm not going to pull trigger. And so now I was giving him a decent bulk discount. And so this time I'm like, you're really getting a great deal because I'm blowing him out. Goes through. He's still kind of hemming and hawing. And he's like, how desperate are you? Rid of him? And I'm really desperate, I take them. How about I give you, this much money, this much cash today? I'll give. Got rid of them. So my show ended on a high note because not only did I get some extra cash, but I didn't have to take 9 monster boxes home with me. So that will further help me transition into dollar boxes at the next Madison Card Show, which is in 2 weeks, February 26th. I'll circle back to that because I've got some potential news, just kind of something that's on the back burner. I'm not advertising it, but if you're watching this, you'll get the news. But I'm not going to tweet or post anything until I've made a decision. I'm going to get to the chat real quick. Jenny says, I think in LCS in Minnesota is releasing today, but that may be a midnight release. They're promoting it as part of their RIP party. That's probably Real Breaks, because I know that their Wisconsin shop is a friend of mine that owns that, Tom, in Wisconsin, and then Ryan is in Minnesota. They're part of the Tops, so it may be exclusive to them because they are a part of the Tops RIP party. But I bet that's Real Breaks, because they've got a location in Minnesota, and they're also tying it in with in Wisconsin. Their shop grand opening is this week. The bride was probably the most happy of 5 monster boxes. Nine less monster boxes, even better. Enjoying Witcher Series 2 in the first few episodes of the Book of Boba Fett. So the traffic was great. Real Breaks. Yep. They're part of that Tops. They're part of the official Tops party. So that's probably why they're releasing it today. If today's not the street date, I don't know what the actual official street date is for Series 1. I know it's this week. So great traffic. Next show is let's see, March 12th, I believe. It's the weekend before the next the March Madison show. So next Madison show is Saturday, February 26th. Completely sold out, 80 tables, 48 dealers, and a long waiting list. So a few months ago, you may recall, I was talking about I need Bo's coffee. A few months ago, I was talking about I was juggling with the do I open up the hallway, because I was kind of at that cusp of needing more tables. Do I just keep a waiting list, or do I open up the hallway? Now the good thing about my venue for the Madison Card Show, the Sheraton Hotel, the hallway isn't like an offshoot. It's much like in Rockford, where you walk in, you have to walk right by these tables. So when you come into the main room, you no matter if you come up on the elevator or come up the stairs, you walk right by the mezzanine where the extra tables are. So I was talking with the venue yesterday. I'm like, hey, here's the situation, so we can get 10 to 12 out in the hallway. So my waiting list continues to grow, and I think I had another 3 dealers. I actually, Jenny, I had a shop owner. I've got to call him back today. Left me a voicemail last night. For in setting up at the show, but I just don't have room. I don't have space. Now here's the downside. I've made the decision to open the hallway. Now there's enough demand that I know I'm not going to be left in the cold, and there's only going to be 2 or 3 vendors out there, and it would have been better just to have a waiting list. But we're at that point now. I'm at the point where it continues and continues to grow and grow. There's 2 other banquet rooms in our venue. The problem is they're on a different floor. They're downstairs. They're on the main floor of the hotel, and they're kind of in the back, and I didn't want to break up the show. But but I also didn't have the issue of, I didn't think that I would grow this much. So it was something that I always poo-pooed. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to break the show up onto 2 floors. Not going to do that. Now that there's potential demand, I'm starting to flirt with that idea. So I reached out to the venue to put the final numbers together for the show, for the room and the mezzanine, and so I asked, got pricing on the two rooms downstairs. Jenny says shop, yeah. So a card shop in Minneapolis reached out to me yesterday. I have to call them back today, expressing interest in setting up at the show, but I just don't have the space right now. But I'm looking at these other banquet rooms on the main floor. And one of the rooms, the larger of the two rooms, I can fit 39 tables. So that would give me uh, between 115 to 120 tables, which would be, hey, that would be great. And they're going to give me a great deal on it for same day for doing both rooms. Yes, I will. I'll shoot you a DM. Um, so I'm toying with that fact, but my waiting list isn't, I think 40 tables is what we can fit in one of the bigger downstairs rooms. So, but I'm not quite there, and then I have to explain to the waiting list, okay, I can get you in, but it's going to be in the downstairs room. But hey, there's still going to be 40 tables in this room. So I'm kind of, do I offer a discount on tables since it's not on the main floor, but it's also a 40 table room. It's not like it's just 10 tables, and you're separate. And then I'm also going to have to do signage. I'm going to have to be more available because now I'll have to kind of shuffle back and down and forth. Do I have to have like a vendor check-in because now I'm on two floors? I'm going to probably have to spend my time in the morning being down in the lobby to catch the vendors and get them to where they need to be. So, if I did set up what I set up in the downstairs room, have my mom come up and watch my table. So that's kind of what I'm toying with. So haven't pulled that trigger. But I did talk to the venue. Still 2 weeks out, and I continue to get vendors asking. So March is probably going to be a down show from this for sure because I know I lose a few vendors because of the Chicago Sports Spectacular, but it was the only weekend I could do. The only weekends open were like the first 3 weekends, which the first weekend is Oak Creek, second weekend is Rockford, and then the third weekend was the only other open weekend, which is also Spectacular weekend, but I'd rather compete with the Spectacular than compete with either Oak Creek or Rockford, because I have many more vendors that overlap those two shows as opposed to the handful that set up at the Spectacular. But it does allow some of my newer vendors a chance at getting in to the March show. So some of the guys that are unable to get in this month, I said, hey, I'll probably have some openings in March because my regulars will be in Chicago. So I guess that's the benefit to having a wait list where you can still fill those tables despite having um, you know uh, vendors going to other shows. Let's see, 80, 90 tables. Yep, we're at 80 for this month, but possibly up to, if I open the other room, could get up to 120. Um, but I just don't have the demand yet to pull that trigger, and I probably won't just on this short notice. Less than 2 weeks out. Um, I want to make sure I get all my ducks in a row. So I probably would not open up a second room until the April 30th show because I think the April 30th. Hopefully, we have baseball by then, and that's when people are really salivating, a little nicer weather, getting out and about. Let's see. Jenny said no discount. You'll have vendors all wanting the cheaper tables and just a headache. I think my opinion anyway. Yes and no. I it's kind of one of those where some may want there's many of the regulars will not want to go in the smaller room. Most of the dealers will want the big ballroom because it's 5,500 square feet. It's where most of the action is. um So I think there would definitely be more demand for the main ballroom as opposed to the cheaper tables. And it wouldn't be if I did and I haven't, decided whether or not to do it. It just depends on the interest. If there's, if I have people on the waiting list but don't want to pay the full price, that's something that I'll wrestle with. Um, but I think it's got to be done right. There's got to be enough. Signage is the main key. I've got to get signage to make sure everybody knows, because it can be difficult to navigate, especially in how we're all set up. What's up, Mark? Good morning to you. Mike with us. Good morning to you. What weekend does March Madness start? I believe it's that March. So it'd be the Saturday, March 19th. I'm pretty sure the first round starts March 17th, the Thursday, March 17th, or I guess the play-in games would be on that Tuesday. Connection unstable. Hopefully, I'm not getting that spinning wheel for you guys. So it looks like March 13th. That's the Sunday, so that would probably be the bracket day. Would be that Sunday. So yeah, that weekend. So that's not ideal, but hey, you can't win them all on the weekends. So that's about what I had for today. Just wanted to talk about the Rockford show. I did get some Cubs. Ryan from the 815 group gave me a stack of Cubs cards. Let's see. Kurt gave me some Cubs cards. Let's see. I think those two. I got some Cubs cards from those two. I did not buy anything. I kind of, that was kind of by design. Wasn't really in the market looking for anything. So speaking of the spectacular, which is coming up March 19th, I'm not sure March 18th, 19th, and 20th. I'm not sure if I'm going to go. We got the Madison show on March 19th. I was thinking maybe going down Friday, but that's like my setup day. I go into the hotel on Friday afternoon just to make sure everything looks good. I guess I could go on if they have the room set up, earlier in the week. I can go on Thursday. So that's something that once we get closer to that date, if the room is set up, I can go in on Thursday and then dedicate Friday to the spectacular. I believe there's also a Club 400 party going to happen that weekend. With and usually it ties in with some autograph signing. I know Aramis Ramirez is in town. I know Moises Alou will be in town. So there potentially could be a Club 400 party on that 19th. So I'd probably be packing up my cards and going straight to Club 400 after the show. I probably would Sunday morning to go into to Rosemont. That would be ideal. Maybe if I just don't imbibe on too many adult beverages Saturday at Club 400, and be perky on Sunday morning to make the quick drive from Lake in the Hills to Rosemont. So we'll see. But ideally, I want to go on Friday just because I can get some of the early bird deals. I'd probably spring for they open the show floor up like an hour and a half, 2 hours early, and may go, pay I think 10 or 15 is the regular ticket price to get in. And I think 25 for the early entry. I'd probably spring for the early entry, just to give me an extra hour or two, and get those early bird cards, digging through the bargain boxes. And since I wouldn't be there on Saturday, otherwise, if I'm there on Saturday, there's no sense in going, an hour or two early and spending that extra money. Let's see. Jenny says we have 3 shows competing against each other March 12th, all within 40 miles of each other. That's difficult. And sometimes it's not, and it's not just on the hosts, on the promoters. Sometimes those are the only dates the venue has available. Like like in March for me, I didn't want to run a show on March 19th, but it was the option. The hotel was not available the let's see, 19th, so it'd be the 20. Is there just one weekend after that? March, yeah, March 26th was taken, and I wasn't going to do the 5th or the 12th. So ideally, I would have had a March 26th show, but I couldn't, so it had to be March 19th. And then I think I ran in. I didn't want to do a show Memorial Day weekend, but I had to because the other dates that I wanted were already taken. I think May 21st. So it's sometimes that's just what you have to do is schedule them when you have availability, and it's hard to find venues at a decent price with with that availability. It's I'm kind of learning all of this. I got really lucky with the Sheraton and with the venue I have. Easy to work with, and they have dates available, and the price is right. They think people like more shows on one day. What's your opinion? I like only one show per day. Well, I mean, it depends. If if it I typically am a one show per day because I'm a bargain box digger. So I go through and I spend hours and hours at one show. I would only want one show. Um, Shows are popping up all over. Some will survive, some won't. That's a great point. A lot of the new shows, if a new show comes along, the problem they run into again is the availability on dates. And if they have a venue, the only venue they can get in their locality is a competing date with another show, a longer running show, it's going to spell bad news for the new guys jumping in. Um, so that's kind of how it is, but it's there's a lot that goes into it, and I like I had a couple dealers tell me at the last show, they're like, man, you're gonna outgrow the place. You need a bigger venue. You need a bigger venue. It's like, but I can't. A bigger venue is going to cost too much money, and that means I'm going to charge you a lot more money for a table. Your $50 table is going to be 100 or 150. So that's what you run into. Like a lot of venues are expensive, and the bigger venue you want, the more money you're going to pay. So it's and then you have dates, and usually bigger venues are booked out further. So that's where you come into the problems of scheduling your dates. And you look at the calendar and it's like, this is a long running show. This is a long running show, and there's only 4 weekends a year or a year. There's only 4 weekends a month, so you're really limited. And then the venue says, okay, this weekend and this weekend is taken. So now you're limited to 2 weekends, and it just might happen to be on the same day as a show, 30, 40 miles away. So those are the issues that you can run into. We're seeing a need for Sunday shows here. So it's almost like should I find somewhere to do a Sunday show and just piggyback, a Saturday here in Madison and then do a Sunday show somewhere else. But again, finding the right venue. You'll be good in March. The spectacular isn't very spectacular. I was actually a little disappointed with November's show. But I'm losing vendors. Like I'm losing 1, 2, 3, at least 3 vendors. Trying to think, possibly more. But I have enough like other vendors that want space, so I'll be good with the vendor space. Yeah, it's goofy. It's the same longtime vendors from one show that started one up 30 miles from that show, but didn't check with the calendar of the other show. So now they're the same dates. Just signed in. Hope everyone has a great day. Did eBay send you a paper 1099 or is it all electronic? I received mine in the mail, and it came in last week, I believe, early last week, like Monday or Tuesday. Mike says Alliant. Yeah, maybe just for shoots and giggles, I'll give all this morning just to get pricing, but I think it's going to be pretty crazy. And when you're dealing with big convention centers like that, there's a lot of nickel and diming. Like like the Sheraton, like it's all clear. Okay, price. Okay, and we're gonna charge you an extra this amount for setup. That's it. You can have all the tables you want. You can have all the that fit. You can have all the chairs you want. They give me too many chairs. Like, okay, can you take back some of the? I don't need 3 tables per chair, 3 chairs per table. There's outlets. There's no electricity cost. But once you start getting in with some of these bigger venues, if you've looked at a contract for the spectacular, it's like if you want Wi-Fi, you've got to pay this. If you want an extra, it's $10 per extra table or chair. I'm getting tables and chairs mixed up. It's like $5 or $10 an extra chair. You're given so many, and then if you want this, and it's kind of like flying. It nickel and dime you on every little thing. Jenny says, for a Sunday show, how many people are coming from my direction? Maybe we could team up and create a Sunday show on this side of the border or River Falls. I'm not sure what the landscape is in Minnesota. I do know that I get 1 or 2 that come in, and I started to advertise a little bit Minneapolis area and in Rochester. Like I said, the one card shop is interested. He's got a shop in Minneapolis. So I am seeing a little more interest. I'll have to look at the calendar just to see. I don't know what the show landscape is in Minnesota. I don't really look at it closely, but here it's more northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, southeast Wisconsin, so it's far away from Minnesota. I don't know what Minnesota's landscape is for Sunday. I do know there's a lot of dealers in this area that would like more Sunday shows. So it would be, southeast Wisconsin. It would be, Madison, Milwaukee, northern Illinois suburbs, Rockford, that kind of triangle, square, whatever. So that's what I had for today. Hopefully everything got in. No skips. Dan says you should poll people who enter and check the results. Would be interesting to see the numbers. That's a great idea, and I've thought about ways to try to get more engagement data from vendors. I finally updated, Mike. You'll get a kick out of this. I finally updated the website, so I'm like, you know what? I had somebody reach out and ask what my 2022 show schedule was, and so what I do is I have the business cards, and I just flash send pictures of the business card because it's got all the dates on it. And I'm like, you know what? I should probably, because the Facebook ad I had goes to the website. So I type in MadisonCardShow.com, and it's got a picture of like the first show where there's 10 tables, 15 tables in the room, and it's announcing the 2021 schedule. And I'm like, oh boy, it's still got my old co-promoter's information, because he tells me every once in a while, hey, I'm like, how are people getting that information? They must have last year's business cards. So I got everything updated. I put a nice clean picture of a filled room from last month, put the 2022 schedule up, April 2021 updated last. Yeah, it was basically, I created the website, put a few articles up, and then left it. So I should be a little more cognizant on the actual website, since that's probably one of the first, if somebody types in Madison Card Show, that's probably one of the first things that pops up in a Google search. So that's updated. 2022 schedule, fresh images. So there we go. So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Back at it tomorrow morning as we approach show number 500. I still don't know if I'm going to do a StreamYard for show 500 or not. I haven't decided, but it's quite possible. I have a subscription now, so maybe I should use it. So have a great Tuesday, and we'll chat tomorrow.